13 Kenya's President William Ruto lights up from an Autopaxer Yetu electric car as he reaches the African Climate Summit 2023 at the Kenyatta International Convention Center in Nairobi, Kenya. On September 6, 2023, Get Monica Mwangi License Rights Summary Company's Nairobi statement caps 3-day African Climate Summit urges big polluters to contribute more to poorer countries. Africa receives about 12 of approximately 300 AWLN funding each year. Leaders will receive offers to COP28 summit in November. Nairobi, September 6. African leaders on Wednesday proposed new global taxes and reforms to international financial institutions to help fund climate change action in a statement that will form the basis of their negotiating positions at November's COP28 summit. The Nairobi Declaration closed the 3-day African Climate Summit in Kenya, dominated by discussions on how mobilize funding to adapt increasingly extreme weather conditions, conserve natural resources and develop renewable energy. Despite suffering some worst effects of climate change, Africa receives about 12 the annual funding it has to deal with, according to researchers. While organizers highlighted market-based solutions like carbon credits at summit, latest statement was heaviest on demands from major polluters and global financial institutions that they are processing more resources to help poor nations and make it easier for them to borrow at affordable prices. He urged world leaders to rally behind the proposal for global carbon taxation regime, including a carbon tax on fossil fuel trade, shipping and aviation, which could also be increased by global financial transaction tax. Global implementation of such measures would enable large-scale financing for climate-related investments and insulate the issue of tax increases from geopolitical and domestic political pressures. He said, nearly 24 countries impose taxes on carbon, according to the International Monetary Fund. But the idea of a global carbon tax regime has never gained much traction. On Tuesday, Kenyan President William Ruto made recommendations as a potential model for a financial transaction tax in the European Union, after the European Commission proposed an FTT in 2011. Some conservation groups said the money should fund environmental priorities. The Commission's proposal did not gain unanimous approval from the Council of Europe, which should become law, although some member states have enacted their own FTTs. International Financial System African countries will take proposals from Nairobi Declaration to a U.S. climate conference later this month and COP28 summit, which begins in United Arab Emirates in late November. Joab Bwire Okonda, a senior advisor at Christian Aid Charity, said the call for a global carbon tax was welcome, but for pollutants to actually pay, there must be false solutions, such as carbon credits that allow polluters to freeride without taking meaningful action. Some active